country on Sunday. Pauline Hanson attended the rallies and said other politicians should have as well. Many from Labor and Liberal have condemned aspects of these rallies, including the fact neo-Nazis attended some of them. Joining me now is One Nation Senator for Western Australia, Whitten. Thank you for your time. Well, I haven't interviewed you before and you're new, so I might just start by asking you, what are you setting out to achieve? What impact do you want to make as a senator?
Well, obviously representing Western Australia and Western Australians and trying to right some of the issues that we've got in the country at the moment. That was my motivation for getting in. So, yeah, I haven't changed that. There's so many problems in the country that we see and we want to work hard to fix that. Obviously,
it comes at a time where One Nation doesn't have, on the face of it, consequential votes. Now, never say never, but Labor has the Greens or the Coalition to pass legislation. Does that make things harder? Does that sort of change your approach at all?
No, we just go where we believe it's right. We have a set of values and we stick to it. So, you know, the next 3 years will be tough, but we're going to keep shining the light into the dark corners to expose what's going on.
So March for Australia rallies billed as about immigration. Were you disappointed to see some of the clear racism on display in parts of these rallies as well?
Absolutely. Everybody was. And I've been getting called a racist and a bigot and, all sorts of things all week. A Nazi. It's been pretty terrible, the hate coming back the other way, when I'm none of those things. And 99% of the people there are none of those things. They're just honest Australians that are fed up. And we don't hate immigrants, and we're not against immigration. We just think it needs to be slowed down and let everything catch up. It's a very simple maths problem. There's so many beds in Australia and so many people already sleeping on them. Where do all these new people sleep? And who do we put in the streets?
Yeah, well, and obviously there's housing targets not being met at the moment. So it was interesting to watch some of the people interviewed near the rallies, and they said, you know, we're not racist, we're not Nazis, but when they were told people were there expressing what were racist views, some of them were of the view of, well, as long as they're concerned about immigration, that's the main thing. Would you say different to that? When you see people there, I saw one person of Asian appearance and people surrounding them saying deport. Would you say that any people doing that are just not welcome? You don't want them at these rallies?
No, that's racist, and we are not racist. We have people from all walks of life in the party and supporters, and yeah, it needs to be called out, and we are happy to call it out. But the message seems to be taken away from what the rally was really all about, which was supporting Australia and reducing immigration.
So with immigration, what parts are too high? There are lots of different streams. What particular streams would you reduce if you had the control or the power?
Well, the government's setting targets, but they're far exceeding them everywhere. Student immigration, I think it's something like 800,000 so far this year. The country cannot sustain that. We don't have enough beds. Like I said, it's a very simple maths equation.
There haven't been 800,000 students this year. Targets, so there's obviously permanent migration, which has its target, and the government can sort of, direct agencies to stop that. The rest of it's demand-driven, though. So specifically, which visas would you cap in those areas?
I'm not across all the different visa types. It doesn't matter which visa. The government will need to address that, but they want to build at 1.2 million homes. That's double what we're currently building in the same time period. Where are all the trades that are going to build that?
But doesn't this come to it? Skilled, you say it doesn't matter what visas. You don't want to cut skilled visas, do you?
No, obviously.
So they need to stay, and they're a pretty big chunk of it. And then you get to partner visas. Well, if you don't let someone come out with their partner, they're probably not coming out here. So isn't this the tricky part of immigration? We sort of need the skills to build the houses we need for a growing population.
What about the people that are already here? Can they not build houses?
Well, at the moment we're struggling to get that workforce, aren't we?
Well, I'm pretty sure there's plenty of able-bodied people that might be able to be trained in some of this stuff. So,
you're a builder by trade. Do you think there's a reason why people are not going into that? Because we had an address by the skills minister sort of saying, let's forget sort of trying to separate TAFE and skills training and higher ed training, have a cultural view of them being as good as each other. Is that Is that an element in Australia? Is there a snobbishness to say uni's better than TAFE or skills training?
I don't know what people think about that, but we need so many people to keep up with all these different programs, the HAF, the 5% deposit, and then just people that are outside of those things that want to buy a house. They all need somebody to build a house for them. And the government is just putting more fuel on the fire of demand, which is going to push up prices, push up costs. And having been involved in the construction industry for 30 years, demand, I know what that does. I loved demand when I was in construction, but it's not good for people who want a house.
Is there an element too, because one of the big moves the Coalition proposed and then Labor followed was delaying the Building Construction Code, which on the one hand people go, great, less red tape, but it feels as though when you talk to people, we've never built houses more poorly and yet we're doing them slowly. It's kind of the perfect storm. What's going on there?
Well, they're trying to build so many houses with so few resources, and through post-COVID, with all the pricing that went up, and so many builders went broke, they didn't allow for all that stuff, which, I feel sorry for all those people that wasn't their fault.
It's pretty damning though when a lot of people say, hey, buy an old house in Australia, not a new one. That seems to be a really common thing out there when you're looking for a house.
I wouldn't cast that aspersion that every new house...
I'm not saying everyone, but people are more worried about a new house.
Standards have gone down.
Yeah.
I've seen it from my time when I started to now. And
all right. Senator, appreciate your time.